Hey guys, and welcome to week 10 of class. This week we are going to begin what I call a 3-week mini-series on World War II. This is perhaps one of the most climactic moments in U.S. history and indeed perhaps world history in the 19th century. I'm sorry, the 20th century. And so I feel like we need to spend a little bit of time sort of digesting this event. Now, we are not going to spend a lot of time going through gratuitous war details. In other words, I'm not going to provide an in-depth military history of the war. In the end, the Allies win. They defeat the Nazis, they defeat the fascists, and they're victorious, okay? We'll talk a bit about some of that, but for the most part, I want to focus in on the causes and the consequences and the American home front. So this week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at some of the central causes for the war. And we're going to be doing this by assessing the rise of Nazism and fascism, both in Italy and in Germany. We will also make some references to the development of militarism and imperialism on and by the Japanese Empire. And of course, during all of this process, the United States has a position of neutrality. The United States is not going to get involved in European affairs, and so we'll take a look at that as well. And then ultimately, we'll end this week by looking at the attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, which ultimately brings the United States out of its isolationism and into the war that had already been going on for a couple of years. Indeed, World War II began in earnest in September of 1939, although you might actually put the beginning of it in Asia in the earlier part of the 1930s when there was conflict between China and Japan. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on. And then next week we'll look at the American home front and the impact of the war on the American home front. And then the week after that, we're going to be looking at what I call war crimes and looking at America's understanding and role with respects to the Holocaust, as well as the internment or concentration of Japanese Americans. So that's what we've got going on. As always, you have your weekly discussion boards, so make sure you get those in on time. And, also be thinking about what you might want to do for your second PowerPoint assignment. I know that's not due, I think, until May 6th. I think that's the date. You might want to double check that on the syllabi. But even though it's still a ways off, you might just want to, in the back of your head, think about some topics that you think were really significant to the development of the United States. So with that, if you have questions, contact me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, as always, go in peace, be warm and filled. May the force be with you, live long and prosper, and may the odds forever be in your favor. Have a blessed week, guys.